Shunned by my partner, yet taken by the alpha who would do anything. The night sky was heavy with black clouds, as if the heavens themselves were hiding secrets they did not wish to reveal. The wind moved through the silver forests like a morning song. Somewhere far away, wolves howled not in hunger but in sorrow. And in the shadow of the cursed kingdom of Valorith, a woman stood alone. Her name was Elira. She was once loved, once chosen, once promised eternity by the man who now refused to even look at her. Elira stood at the edge of the royal terrace, her long dark hair moving gently with the cold wind. Below her, the kingdom lights shimmered like dying stars. Tonight was the Festival of Bonds, a sacred night where couples renewed their magical connection. But Elira had no partner standing beside her, not anymore. Behind her she heard laughter, soft, cold, mocking. "Still waiting for him?" a voice said. Elira turned slowly. It was Lady Maris, dressed in royal violet silk, her golden necklace glowing with protective magic. "He will come," Elira said quietly, but her voice lacked conviction. Maris sighed. "You are the Queen's chosen healer. You should know better than to trust love in a kingdom ruled by ambition." Elira said nothing, because Maris was right. 3 months ago, Elira had been promised to Prince Darren, the heir of Valorith's throne. He had called her his light, his future queen, his destiny, but everything changed after the curse came. The curse of the Blood Moon. No one knew where it came from. Some said it was the revenge of forgotten gods. Others said it was the anger of ancient spirits buried beneath the royal castle. The curse did not kill. It changed people. It twisted love into fear. And when Darren was exposed to the curse during battle, something inside him changed. He began to distance himself from Elira. Then he stopped speaking to her. Then he stopped looking at her completely. Tonight, he had chosen to attend the festival with another woman. A noblewoman from a powerful northern clan who promised political alliance and strength. Not love, power, that was what the royal family needed. "Elira," Maris said softly, "you should go back inside. The night spirits are restless." Elira shook her head. "I want to wait." "For what? For humiliation?" Elira didn't answer, because deep in her chest there was still a small burning hope, a fragile, foolish flame. Love did not die easily in her heart, then she felt it. A shift in the air, like the world itself was holding its breath. The wolves stopped howling. Even the wind grew quiet. Elira turned slowly toward the dark forest line beyond the palace gardens, and there, standing under the shadow of ancient black trees, was a man. He was not dressed like royalty. His clothes were dark, simple, warrior-like. His eyes, even from a distance, burned like molten silver fire. He was the alpha of the Shadow Pack, Cale Vorn. The Shadow Pack was feared across kingdoms, not because they were evil, but because they were wild, independent. They did not bow to kings or queens. They followed only one rule: strength protects what it claims. Cale began walking toward her slowly, like a predator who already knew he had found something valuable. "Elira of Valorith," he said, his voice low and deep like thunder beneath mountains. She felt fear. And something else, something dangerous. "You should not be here," she said. "This is royal territory." He stopped a few steps away from her. "Tonight, royal territory is weak," he said, "because the prince has abandoned his future queen." Elira's heart tightened painfully. "How do you know that?" Cale's silver eyes studied her face like he was reading ancient magic written on her skin. "The forest hears everything," he said, "even broken hearts." Elira wanted to hate him. But there was something in his presence, something powerful, protective, almost ancient. Unlike Darren's cold distance, Cale's presence felt like standing near a roaring fire during winter. Dangerous, warm, unpredictable. "You should not speak to me like this," Elira said. "I am still engaged to the prince." Cale gave a quiet, bitter laugh. "You are not engaged to him in spirit," he said, "only in name." The words hit harder than she expected, because they were true. Suddenly, distant bells rang across the kingdom. Festival rituals were beginning. Marriage bonds would be strengthened tonight, or broken. Cale stepped closer, not aggressively, slowly, respectfully. "I did not come to steal you," he said. "Then why are you here?" He hesitated. For the first time, Elira saw uncertainty in his eyes. "Because I can feel your magic," he said. "It is old magic, forgotten magic, the kind that does not belong to royal cages." Elira's breath caught. She had always been able to heal wounds that others could not explain. Animals trusted her. Magic reacted strangely around her. But she had never understood why. "You are being hunted," Cale said suddenly. Elira frowned. "By who?" "The curse does not only affect the royal family," he said. It is spreading, and you are connected to its origin. Alira felt cold fear crawl through her chest. That is impossible. Kale stepped closer still. The forest does not lie, he said softly, and neither do wolves who can smell destiny. Then suddenly palace doors burst open behind them. Royal guards rushed out with glowing weapons. Lady Alira, one shouted. You must return immediately. The prince requests your presence. Alira turned. Darren was standing at the palace entrance, but he was not alone. The noblewoman stood beside him, holding his arm. Darren's eyes were cold, empty, like frozen winter lakes. Alira, he said flatly. You should not be speaking with outsiders. The words felt like ice knives. Kale moved slightly closer to her, not possessively, protectively. Go, Kale whispered. If you stay, they will try to bind you with magic tonight. Alira looked between Darren and Kale. Her heart was breaking because she still loved Darren, but he was already gone from her in spirit. Alira, Darren said, come back inside. You are making a scene. His voice was calm, too calm, like he was speaking to a stranger. Alira took a slow breath. Then she made her choice. She turned away from Darren and stepped toward Kale. Gasps echoed from the royal guards. Darren's face darkened. For a moment, something cracked inside his cold expression. Do you think he can protect you? Darren asked quietly. Alira did not answer. She just walked toward the shadow alpha. Kale extended his hand. She hesitated, because crossing that line meant betrayal, or freedom. She did not know which. When her fingers touched his, something powerful surged through the air. Black magic energy swirled around them like living shadows. Kale's eyes widened slightly. You feel it too, he said. The ancient curse is waking. Alira whispered, what does it want? Kale looked toward the dark horizon. Everything. Behind them, Darren's voice cut through the night like broken glass. If you leave now, he said quietly, you will never be allowed back. Alira did not turn around, because she already knew what her answer was, and as Kale led her into the dark forest beyond the palace walls. The blood moon slowly rose above Valarith, watching, waiting, and somewhere deep beneath the kingdom's ancient ruins, something old began to wake. The forest of Shadow Vale was not like other forests. It was alive. Not in the way flowers grow or animals breathe, but in a deeper way. The trees remembered wars. The stones remembered magic. Even the wind carried the whispers of forgotten queens and dead kings. Alira walked beside Kale in silence. The forest path was dark, but soft, glowing lights floated around them like tiny stars trapped inside fireflies. These lights were called spirit sparks, small fragments of ancient magic that responded to emotional energy. Tonight, they followed Alira, not Kale. Alira. You are quiet, Kale said after a long time. Alira kept looking forward. I am thinking. About the prince, she did not answer immediately, but Kale already knew. Love was not something that disappeared quickly. It stayed like a scar inside the heart. Yes, she finally said. And about what I just did. You chose freedom, Kale said simply. I chose confusion, Alira corrected softly. I do not know if I am brave or just broken. Kale did not speak immediately. He was not a man of many words, but when he spoke, his words carried weight. You are not broken, he said. You are changing. They reached the Shadow Pack village deep inside the forest. Unlike royal cities, the village was built around nature. Houses were made of dark wood and magic stone. Lanterns floated in the air without strings or fire. Children with glowing wolf-like eyes watched Alira with curiosity but no fear. They knew who Kale was, their leader, their protector, their alpha. Alira, Kale said, stay here tonight. She turned to him. Why? Because royal magic trackers are searching for you already, he said. The prince will not let you go easily. Alira felt a small pain in her chest. She had not expected Darren to chase her, but a part of her still hoped he would. Kale noticed her sadness. He stepped closer, but not too close. I know what you are feeling, he said quietly. How could you know? Because I have watched love destroy strong warriors, Kale said. Love can be a blessing, but in cursed kingdoms, love is often used as a weapon. Alira looked at him. There was something deep inside his eyes. Pain, old pain. Tell me about the curse, Alira said suddenly. Kale became silent. The wind around them changed. The spirit sparks floating in the air started moving faster, like they were afraid of something. The blood moon curse was not created by dark magic alone, Kale said slowly. It was born from betrayal. Alira felt a chill. Whose betrayal? Kale looked toward the distant mountains where the royal castle could barely be seen. The first queen of Valarith, he said. Long ago, Valorith was ruled by Queen Saria. She was loved by her people, strong, wise, beautiful. She had a magical bond with a powerful war king from a forgotten tribe. They promised to rule together, but the royal council feared losing control, so they poisoned the king. Not physically, spiritually. They used forbidden magic to trap his soul inside eternal darkness. The queen went mad with grief. During a blood moon night, she cursed the royal bloodline. She said love would turn into suffering. Power would destroy families. And the kingdom would slowly die from within. The curse does not kill, Kale said. It destroys relationships. It feeds on emotional distance. Alira's eyes filled with tears she did not want to show. That is why Darren changed, she whispered. Yes, Kale said. That night, Alira stayed inside a small guest house inside the village. She could not sleep. She kept thinking about Darren's cold eyes, about the way he had looked at her when she chose to walk away. Not angry, not sad, just distant, as if she was already a memory. Meanwhile, in the royal castle, Prince Darren stood inside his dark chamber. The noblewoman who was supposed to be his political partner had left earlier. He was alone, and that was when the curse inside his blood started whispering again. Dark magic marks appeared faintly on his skin under his clothes. He clenched his fists. I am still in control, he whispered to himself, but the curse laughed inside his mind. It showed him visions. Alira walking beside Kale, Alira smiling softly, Alira choosing someone else. Darren smashed his hand against the wall. Cracks of dark magic spread across the stone. I will not become my father, he said quietly, because his father had been consumed by the curse. His father had become emotionally cold, then cruel, then completely empty. Darren was terrified of becoming the same. That was why he pushed Alira away, not because he stopped loving her, but because he was afraid of loving her and losing himself. Back in the Shadow Pack village, Kale was standing outside Alira's house. He was not sleeping. He was guarding her, because alpha loyalty was not just about strength, it was about protection. Suddenly, Kale felt something, dark magic, approaching fast. He turned toward the forest border. Royal magic soldiers were entering shadow territory. They carried glowing silver chains designed to capture magical beings. Kale's eyes turned colder. They were not here for war, they were here for Alira. Kale rushed to her house. Alira, he said urgently, you must come with me. What happened? They are here. Alira's heart pounded. She knew what that meant. The royal kingdom was claiming her back. They ran deeper into the forest. But the forest was not helping them tonight. The spirit sparks were fading. The wind was growing heavy. Like the forest itself was watching, waiting, and deciding which side to choose. Suddenly, royal soldiers surrounded them. Silver magic chains glowed in their hands. Lady Alira, the captain said, by royal law you are ordered to return. Alira felt fear. But Kale stepped in front of her. You cannot take her, Kale said calmly. This is royal law, the captain replied. The prince demands her return. Kale's eyes glowed faintly with wolf magic. If you touch her, he said quietly, you will start a war with the Shadow Pack. Silence followed. Then a familiar voice spoke from behind the soldiers. Alira, she froze. Darren walked forward slowly. He looked tired, emotionally exhausted, but his eyes were not cold tonight. They were full of conflict. You cannot just leave like that, Darren said softly. Alira felt her heart breaking again. You were the one who pushed me away, she said. I did, Darren admitted, because I was afraid. Of silence, of the curse, of losing her. Kale watched silently. He knew this was not just a love triangle. This was a war between destiny and choice. Darren stepped closer to Alira. I still love you, he said quietly. The words shook her soul, but then he continued. But I do not know if I can protect you from what is coming. The wind suddenly turned cold. Dark magic energy exploded far beneath the kingdom grounds. The ground trembled. Kale's face turned pale. The curse is waking, he whispered. Alira felt something deep inside her chest answer the magic. Pain, power, ancient memory. Darren looked at her. Stay with me, he said. Or leave forever, but choose before the curse decides for you. Alira looked between Darren and Kale. Two men, two destinies, two different kinds of love. And as the blood moon rose higher, the ancient queen's curse voice echoed inside Alira's mind. The bloodline must suffer. Love must break, or the kingdom will burn. Alira slowly raised her hand, and made a choice that would change 3 lives forever. But the choice was not spoken. Because in that moment, the ground exploded with dark ancient magic from beneath the kingdom. And something far older than the curse itself was awakening. watching, waiting, hungry. The earth itself seemed to remember anger. When the ancient magic exploded beneath the kingdom borders, the ground split like cracked glass. Dark purple light rose from deep underground ruins that had been sealed for centuries. Alira stood frozen between two men, Prince Darren on one side, Alpha Kale on the other, and in her chest her heart was beating like a trapped bird trying to escape a cage. The explosion of magic had not hurt anyone physically, but emotionally the world felt heavier. The spirit sparks that usually floated peacefully in the forest were now moving wildly, like frightened animals trying to escape danger. Kale stepped forward first. "Alira, stay behind me," he said. His voice was calm, but his body was tense. Alpha instincts were waking inside him. He could feel danger in the magic waves spreading across the ground. Darren watched him carefully. "You are standing in royal territory," Darren said quietly. "You are risking war." Kale did not move. "I am standing where she stands," Kale replied, simple, strong, unbreakable. Alira felt something inside her chest react to Kale's words. Not romance, not love alone, respect. Protection was something she had never felt so clearly before. But then she looked at Darren. His dark eyes were filled with conflict. He looked tired, not physically, emotionally. The curse marks under his skin were becoming more visible under moonlight. "Alira," Darren said softly, "you must come back to the castle tonight. The royal healers need to study the magic inside you." Alira frowned. "What do you mean?" Darren hesitated, then he spoke. "You are connected to the origin of the curse." The words felt like cold water falling over her soul. Kale turned sharply. "You should have told her sooner," he said coldly. "I was protecting her," Darren said. "Or controlling her fate," Kale replied. The tension between them grew heavy. Two different types of strength stood before Alira. Kale's strength was wild and emotional. Darren's strength was controlled and royal. Both wanted to protect her, but in different ways. Alira spoke softly. "Stop fighting," she said. Both men turned toward her. "I am not a prize to win," she continued. "I am not a weapon. I am a person who is confused, scared, and trying to understand my own destiny." Silence followed her words. Even the wind seemed to listen. Then the ground trembled again, this time deeper, older, like something was waking from a long sleep. Kale suddenly grabbed Alira's hand. "Run," he said. Darren also moved forward, but not to fight Kale, to protect Alira from something else, because both of them felt it. Something ancient was moving beneath Valorith Kingdom, something older than the curse of Queen Seria. They ran deeper into the forest ruins. Old stone structures appeared between trees. These were forgotten temples from the time before the kingdom was built. Symbols of ancient magic were carved into broken pillars. Alira felt strange energy pulling her forward, like something was calling her name without using words. Inside the deepest ruined chamber, they found a sealed stone altar. Black chains of magic were wrapped around it. Darren stopped walking. His face turned pale. "This is forbidden ground," he whispered. "What is inside?" Alira asked. Darren did not answer immediately. Kale spoke instead. "The original source of the curse." Legend said Queen Seria did not create the curse alone. The curse was actually born when ancient magic spirits were betrayed by humans who wanted power. The spirits were sealed inside the royal bloodline, waiting. Growing stronger with each generation, feeding on emotional pain, fear, broken love. "Alira," Darren said slowly, "your bloodline is not royal." She looked at him. "You are descended from the first healer tribe," he said, "the same tribe that helped seal the curse." Alira felt shock. "Then why am I connected to it?" Kale answered. "Because you were born with the ability to feel emotional magic." She could feel people's pain, their loneliness, their love. That was why she was a powerful healer. But it also made her vulnerable to the curse. Suddenly, the altar stone cracked. Dark smoke rose from inside. A deep voice echoed inside their minds. "The healer blood has returned." Alira stepped back. "What is that?" she whispered. Kale pulled her behind him again, but Darren stepped forward. Because royal duty was stronger than fear. The dark voice spoke again. "The prince carries broken blood. The alpha carries wild destiny, but the healer will decide which world survives." The magic smoke began forming into a shape. A woman, not physical, spiritual. Queen Seria's spirit appeared, her eyes glowing with ancient sadness. She looked directly at Alira. "My child," the spirit said softly. Alira trembled. "I am not your child," Alira said. "But you are my legacy," the spirit replied. The spirit explained the truth. The curse was not meant to destroy love. It was meant to force truth. Royal families had used magic power to control emotions for centuries. The curse was revenge, but it had grown too strong. Now it was becoming something else, something hungry. Something that wanted to consume the entire kingdom. The curse will choose a host soon, Queen Seria's spirit said. Illyra, Kale said urgently, we must leave. But Illyra stayed still because she felt something inside her chest responding to the spirit. Power. Ancient magic awakening inside her own soul. Darren watched her carefully. Illyra, he said softly, if you stay connected to this magic, you may lose yourself. Kale said nothing, but his eyes showed fear, because alpha instincts told him something dangerous was happening. Queen Seria's spirit extended her hand toward Illyra. You are the key, she said. To what? Illyra asked. To either break the curse, the spirit said, or become its queen. The ground suddenly exploded again. Dark magic tendrils burst from the ruins like living snakes. They grabbed at Illyra's legs. She screamed. Kale immediately shifted into partial wolf form using magic energy, his eyes glowing silver as he fought the dark tendrils. Darren used royal magic spells to cut through the darkness. Both men fought to reach her, not against each other. Against the curse itself. Illyra felt pain, but also power. The curse was trying to enter her body, whispering promises, power, control, no more heartbreak. But then she remembered something, Kale's words. You are not broken, you are changing, Darren's words. I am afraid of losing you, Illyra screamed. I will not become your weapon. Her healer magic exploded outward. Golden light mixed with dark curse energy. The battle of magic forces shook the ancient ruins. Finally, the spirit of Queen Seria smiled sadly. You are stronger than I was, she said. Then the spirit disappeared. The curse energy retreated slightly, but not completely. Kale reached Illyra first. He held her gently. You scared me, he said quietly. Darren arrived seconds later. And for the first time, he did not argue with Kale. He just looked at Illyra with deep emotional pain. We must decide soon, Darren said. The curse is waking fully. Kale nodded. The kingdom will fall if this continues. Illyra looked between them. Her heart was torn. Because she loved Darren, but she trusted Kale's protection. And far beneath the kingdom, something much worse than the curse was opening its eyes, something older, something that wanted revenge against both love and magic, and it was waiting for Illyra to make the final choice. Because her decision would decide the fate of 3 hearts and 1 kingdom. The kingdom of Valorith stood on the edge of destruction. The night sky was no longer peaceful. Dark clouds moved like living creatures above the royal castle. The blood moon shone red and heavy like a watching eye filled with judgment. The ancient curse had fully awakened, and this time it was hungry. Illyra stood at the center of the royal castle courtyard. Beside her stood Prince Darren. On her other side stood Alpha Kale. The air between them was heavy with emotion, magic, and history. Royal soldiers stood in silent formation around them. No one spoke. Even the wind seemed afraid to move. Inside the castle walls, people were hiding. Families were praying. Children were crying softly in dark rooms. Everyone knew something terrible was coming. Darren looked at Illyra. His voice was low and tired. The curse has chosen its final form, he said. If we do not seal it tonight, the kingdom will fall into eternal darkness. Illyra nodded slowly. I can feel it, she said quietly. Inside her chest, magic was growing stronger, not painful, but powerful and heavy like holding an ancient storm inside her heart. Kale watched her carefully. You do not have to sacrifice yourself, he said. Illyra turned toward him. I do not want to sacrifice myself, she said softly. But sometimes destiny does not ask what we want. Kale's jaw tightened. I will fight destiny if it tries to take you, he said. His words were not romantic poetry. They were a warrior's promise. Suddenly, the ground beneath the castle began to crack. Dark magic energy burst upward like black lightning. The earth shook violently. Towers in the distance began to crumble slowly. From the center of the destruction, a dark spiritual figure rose. It was not Queen Seria this time. It was something worse. A massive shadow creature with glowing red eyes formed from thousands of years of emotional pain, betrayal, and royal blood magic. The cursed spirit had evolved. It was no longer just revenge. It was consumption. It wanted to swallow love, hope, and magic from the world. The cursed spirit spoke inside everyone's mind. Choose, it said. Give me the healer, or watch your kingdom burn. Royal soldiers panicked. Some dropped their weapons. Others began praying to forgotten gods. Darren stepped forward. I will not give you anyone, he said firmly. The curse laughed. Then watch your people suffer. Dark magic waves spread across the city like poison smoke. People inside the kingdom felt emotional despair suddenly rising inside their hearts. Couples began arguing. Friends felt sudden anger. Families felt sadness without knowing why. The curse was feeding on emotional weakness. Alira closed her eyes. She could feel it. Every person's pain was like whispers inside her soul. She knew what she had to do. But she was afraid. Cale grabbed her hand tightly. "Listen to me," he said. "You are not alone." Darren also stepped closer. "I failed to protect you once," he said. "I will not fail again." Alira felt tears in her eyes, two men, two different futures. But both were willing to die to protect her. The cursed spirit screamed, "Bring me the healer!" The dark magic tendrils shot toward Alira. Cale immediately shifted into full wolf spirit form using his ancient shadow pack magic. His body was surrounded by silver glowing energy as he attacked the dark tendrils. Darren used royal battle magic spells, creating golden protective barriers. Both men fought side by side for Alira, not as rivals, as protectors, but the curse was too strong. It smashed through Darren's barrier magic. It struck Cale's wolf energy shield. They were pushed backward violently. Alira knew this was the moment. She walked forward alone. "Stop hurting them," she said loudly. The curse stopped moving. Because Alira's emotional magic was stronger than fear. "You want me," she said. "Take me, but release the kingdom." Silence followed. Then the cursed spirit spoke. "You are brave, but bravery is not enough." Alira remembered everything, the healer tribe teachings. Love was not weakness, love was energy, so she did something unexpected. She opened her emotional magic completely. She remembered Darren's love before the curse. She remembered Cale's protection and loyalty. She remembered hope. Golden light began forming around her body. The curse screamed in pain because positive emotional magic was poison to it. Darren shouted, "Alira, you are overusing your magic." But Alira did not stop, because she knew this was the only way. Cale watched her with terrified eyes. He understood what she was doing. She was not just fighting the curse. She was sealing it inside herself. The cursed spirit became angry. "You will become my prison," it screamed. "Yes," Alira said calmly, "if it saves everyone." The curse tried to fight back. Dark chains of magic wrapped around her body. Pain exploded through her mind and soul, but she did not scream. She remembered her people, the kingdom children, the innocent lives. Love was stronger than pain. Darren ran toward her. "No," he shouted. He tried to reach her, but Cale grabbed his arm. "Stop," Cale said. "If you interrupt, she will die immediately." Darren froze. His face was filled with emotional agony. Because he had lost her once already, he could not lose her forever. Alira spoke softly. "To both of you," Cale and Darren both listened. "I am thankful for the love you gave me," she said. Tears fell from her eyes. "But I must choose the kingdom first." Golden magic exploded outward from her body. The cursed spirit screamed as it was forced back into the ancient ruins deep underground, sealed again by emotional magic bonds. The ground stopped shaking. The dark clouds slowly disappeared. The blood moon lost its red glow. Peace returned slowly. But Alira collapsed to the ground. Cale reached her first and caught her gently. "Alira, stay with me," he whispered. She smiled weakly. "You are very stubborn," she said softly. Cale's eyes were filled with tears he refused to hide. "I promised I would protect you," he said. "And you did," she replied. Darren reached them moments later. He knelt beside Alira. "I understand now," he said quietly. "I was afraid of loving you because I was afraid of losing control to the curse." Alira squeezed his hand gently. "You are still worthy of love," she said. But Darren shook his head. "I will spend my life protecting this kingdom so you can live freely," he said. The kingdom of Valorith was saved, but the emotional wounds remained. Love had not chosen one man, it had chosen sacrifice, growth, and freedom. Months later, the kingdom began healing. Darren became a wiser king who ruled with kindness instead of fear. Cale returned to Shadow Pack lands but stayed connected to Alira as her protector and ally. Alira continued healing people with her magic. She was not a queen, not a prisoner. She was something greater, a bridge between love, power, and freedom. One night, Alira stood on the royal terrace again. The wind was soft this time. Cale stood beside her. Darren stood a little farther away, respecting her space. The future was uncertain, but peace was possible. And in a world of curses and kings, sometimes love did not mean choosing one person. Sometimes love meant saving the world first.